Hey everybody, Larry Bailey here, bringing you another weekly market news update. This is September 3rd, 2024, and we're going to go through all the stories that came to be as of the week of August 26th, 2024. And one of the things that I'm going to do is change up exactly how all of this is being presented. Normally, I'll share a screen and let you see it. We're going to change this up. So basically, I'm just talking to you about what's going on and you can understand what's happening. If you want to actually see everything that I'm going through online, go ahead and head over to mortgage.community and you can check out the full replay with the article there. So let's get into this. We saw that the latest inflation readings, they kept the Fed on track for a rate cut in September, while home prices continue to appreciate nationwide. Here's the stories we're going to go through. Consumer inflation continues to moderate. The next story is home prices hit another new high. The next story is pending home sales are soft for now. We'll see where that goes. The next story is second quarter GDP revised higher. And the last story is jobless claims continue to show labor sector weakness. This first story is consumer inflation continues to moderate, and we've got some information here that we want to go through. It's all focused around the personal consumption expenditure. Hopefully, you've kept up with what that is and how that goes in. What we saw is that July's measure showed a headline inflation rose 0.2% from June, while the year over year reading remained at 2.5%. The core PCE, which, as a reminder, is the Fed's favored measure, which strips out all the volatile food and energy prices, that also rose 0.2% monthly. The year over year reading held steady at 2.6%, remaining the lowest level in 3 years, which is great news. The bottom line here is inflation has been moderating and heading towards that Fed's 2% target as measured by the core PCE. The cooling consumer inflation we've seen in recent months, combined with signs that the job market is slowing, have led to growing calls for the Fed to begin cutting their benchmark Fed funds rate, which is the overnight borrowing rate for banks. Fed Chair Jerome Powell recently confirmed that, quote, the time has come for policy to adjust, close quote. The latest PCE readings keep the Fed on track to cut rates at their next meeting on September 18th. We don't exactly know how much that's going to be, but we shall see. The next story is home prices hit another new high. So, and this information comes from the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is considered the quote gold standard for appreciation. That showed that home prices nationwide rose 0.2% from May to June after a seasonal adjustment, breaking the previous month's all-time high. Home values in June were also up 5.4% than a year earlier, following a 5.9% in May. The Federal Housing Finance Agencies, remember that's the FHFA, that house price index did report that home prices fell 0.1% from May to June, although they were up 5.1% higher when compared to the same time last year. It's important to note that the FHFA's data does not include cash buyers or jumbo loans, only loans that were financed with conforming loan limits in those mortgages. Those factors do account for some of the differences in these two reports. And those two reports are, again, between the Case-Shiller and the FHFA. Bottom line here, gang, is the reports from Case-Shiller and the FHFA, along with other home price indexes like CoreLogic and ICE, show that home ownership continues to provide significant wealth creation opportunity for people around the country. All right, so let's get into the next story, which is pending home sales are soft for now. And what we see in this story is pending home sales plunged 5.5% from June to July, per the National Association of Realtors, also known as NAR. That's coming in well below estimates of a flat reading. We were expecting for flat, and we saw a 5.5% dip. So the sales were also 8.5% lower than they were a year earlier. This report measures signed contracts on existing homes, making it an important forward-looking indicator for closings on these homes as measured in the existing home sales report. The bottom line in this story, gang, is while signed contracts on existing homes were soft last month, that's not the whole story. It almost never is. It takes time for the impact of lower rates to translate into buyers shopping, finding a home, negotiating, and eventually signing a contract. NAR's chief economist Lawrence Yun confirmed that, quote, current lower falling mortgage rates will no doubt bring buyers into the market, close quote, which means the volume of signed contracts will likely rise in the months ahead. So here we get into this idea of the second quarter GDP revised higher. Remember, with each GDP, gross domestic product here, we get three readings. We get an initial, we get a revised, and we get a final. So this is the second quarter GDP revised higher. This economy, the U.S. economy, grew by 3% in the second quarter per the latest gross domestic product report from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. The second reading of the data was above the initial 2.8% and more than doubled the 1.4% growth seen in the first quarter of this year. Bottom line here, gang, is economic activity was better than expected last month due to, in part, the increases of consumer spending, private inventory investment, and business investment. Note, it's important to note this, that this data could be revised one more time. It's not could be, will be revised one more time when the final reading is released September 26th. We don't know if it'll be different, but it'll definitely be reviewed at least. So jobless claims continue to show labor sector weaknesses. The next story, the initial jobless claims fell slightly in the latest week with 231,000 people filing for unemployment benefits for the first time. Continuing claims rose by 13,000 with 1.868 million people still receiving those benefits after filing their initial claim, meaning this metric remains near the highs for November 2021. Bottom line in this story is both initial and continuing claims have trended higher in this summer when compared to the beginning of the year, with continuing claims topping 1.8 million each week since the start of June. This shows that layoffs have risen while new job opportunities also have become more scarce. If you're into if you're into honey, good news, September is a National Honey Month. And it makes a perfect time to enjoy these honey cookies, courtesy of All Recipes. And you'll want to look over at mortgage.community, find this recipe. I encourage you to, because who doesn't like honey cookies? Gang, it's going to be an important week here. We have crucial labor sector data that'll be reported with updates on job openings on Wednesday, private payrolls and unemployment claims on Thursday, and non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate on Friday. We'll also see more housing appreciation data from both CoreLogic and ICE. My name's Larry Bailey. I hope you enjoy what we're bringing here. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you're not already to be alerted for when we drop more videos. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much.